Hi, my name is Megan Slater with New Haven Residential Treatment Center, and this is the 9th in a series of videos to help us better understand ADHD. Now, I've not really talked in these videos much about my experience with ADHD, but I became passionate to learn about it when my children were diagnosed with it, soon found that I had married someone with it, and as an adult was diagnosed with adult ADHD. And so I want to talk about how ADHD affects relationships for those of us in a relationship with someone else with ADHD, and for those of us who are ADHD to be in the relationship. Now, looking at the words behind me, you're probably already identifying the things in your own relationship that ADHD is affecting. But I want to talk about each of them. First of all, because of our distractibility, it's easy for us to start projects, not complete them. In a household, it's going to look like chores that were started and not done, projects that were started and left out because we're going to get back to it later. You know, this can cause irritation for the other people in the relationship. We can be disorganized. We may not realize that our room is a mess. We may not realize that the kitchen looks horrible until company comes over, and we realize that dishes are everywhere. Sometimes when we're in the middle of a situation, we don't realize, when we're in the middle of that room, we don't see the things that we've been laying down over the course of time. It doesn't even affect us. However, if we were to walk into someone else's house, we would notice it right away. I'm not sure why that is. And we tend to be self-focused. Now, I hate to say that we're self-centered because it makes me feel bad. But we are self-focused. There's things that we want to do, things that we're thinking about. And it's hard for us then to think about what someone else wants to do. And our hyperfocus, now, I've talked about this before, but hyperfocus is, a lot of ADHD people, we have this ability to, when we find something we really enjoy, we want to do that all the time. And so our hyperfocus can get in the way of relationship when we're doing a project that we really enjoy, watching a show that we like, reading a book, talking to someone that we like talking to, and we realize that time has gone by and we missed an appointment, we missed something that we were supposed to do. The people in our family are wondering, when are you going to come pay attention to us? There can be a lot of hurt feelings in families with ADHD members because the other family members feel like that ADHD person doesn't care about them. They're not the priority in their life. Now, this can be extremely hurtful to both parties. So it's, as an ADHD person, it's important to remember when you're in a relationship to think about the people around you, and it takes a conscious effort. Now, because it takes a conscious effort, does that mean it's not important to you? No. It just means that that's the way your brain works. So I want us, as we're looking at this, to avoid the shame cycle I talked about a couple videos ago. We're impatient. And as a parent, when we're impatient, we can get really irritable, yelling at our kids, putting deadlines on our children because they're not getting it done fast enough. So taking time to step back and just say, hey, is this really important? As a child with irritability, we're going to see tantrums. They want something now. They don't like it when they're told no. And so taking a look at how being impatient affects the mood is really important when you're dealing with ADHD. Low frustration tolerance, we talked about that in a couple videos ago, and this plays into the impatience piece, the irritability piece. When something happens that doesn't go the way we want it to, we lose sight of what's happening. We get frustrated. We catastrophize. We start thinking that nothing's ever going to go well. Now, if you're in a relationship with someone with ADHD, whether they're your spouse or your child, it's important, though hard, to pull yourself out of that, because our tendency is to say, hey, wait, that's not true, and try and talk them out of it. But it's okay to let them vent it out, let them get it out, and then later on talk about what really is true. Poor verbal skills. Those of us with ADHD, when we're emotional, it's like our brains fall out, our vocabulary leaves. And so where we take responsibility for ourselves is recognizing this, that it's hard when we're emotional to express ourselves, and work on practicing it when we're not emotional. For someone else in the relationship with us, they're going to need to be aware that it might take us some time to get out what we're trying to say. We might be prone to slamming a door, or kicking something, or clenching up and screaming, rather than verbalizing what we're feeling. And so the other person needs to be patient, and we need to take responsibility for the fact that we need to learn a new skill. And we can learn the new skill. It takes practice, and we need to do it in moments when we're not frustrated. Poor awareness, this kind of goes along with disorganization. We have a hard time being aware of those around us. It goes along with the self-focused piece as well. And so taking time each day to stop and think. This is going to be a conscious skill that you learn. Some people are naturally aware of other people's needs. And I'm not saying that everyone with ADHD has these problems. But what I am saying is if we have a hard time with awareness, that we need to take responsibility for that and teach ourselves how to be more aware of the other people. Whether that means we schedule time with someone else in our life, or we just practice asking them questions about how their day went. It's something that you're going to have to figure out where you're lacking and how you're going to fix it. And then black and white thinking, which we already talked about. So when we're in a conversation, as an ADHD person, I need to stop and think, why is it that I'm so stuck on this thought? Am I right? And is it possible that someone else could have a different point of view? Is it okay for them to have a different point of view? I think so. So again, the humility piece comes in. Now, one that I didn't write on the board is my own opinion. And so I'm leaving it off the list. My opinion is that a lot of ADHD people, because in general we feel out of control with the world around us, we tend to be less willing to be vulnerable emotionally with those in our relationships. And so as you're dealing with a teenager who has ADHD, teaching them how to be open in a relationship, teaching them that they can trust other people. The same thing with an adult. And as we're looking at our relationships, taking a pretty good inventory of which things we struggle with and which things we do pretty well at, and then learning new skills to help us so that our relationships can be happy and successful. Thanks for watching.